problem exists because white people think they're better than black people.
Welcome back to my channel, my love tights. It's me, Tyquan here. So I am here to give you all a little bit of a discussion piece about background of my life, a little bit about my history, and also touch a little bit about the events that are going on in today's world. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And just know there's going to be a little touchy video here, but I do want to encourage you to watch all the way till the end so that you can really understand a little bit about me and about my life. I'm going to play a clip, this video that came across me today on Twitter, and I did some research on the video, and the video is Black Senator by the name of Ernest Chambers. He is from Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska to be exact. And this particular clip is from a documentary called A Time for Burning. And it pretty much talks about the issues that were surrounding some of the civil rights problems and things like that going on in the 60s. So it's from 1966. It is a civil rights documentary, and the Lutheran Church in that area is actually a part of that particular documentary. So wait for the clip.
The problem exists because white people think they're better than black people, and they want to oppress us, and they want us to allow ourselves to be oppressed.
This is the big. I agree with you perfectly. This is the basic problem.
Then what do you
that white people think they're better than others?
I can't solve the problem. You guys pull the strings that close schools. You guys draw the boundaries that keep our kids restricted to the ghetto. You guys write up the restrictive covenants that keep us out of houses. So it's up to you to talk to your brothers and your sisters and persuade them that they have a responsibility. We've assumed ours for over 400 years, and we're tired of this kind of stuff now. We're not going to suffer patiently anymore. No more turning the other cheek. No more blessing our enemies. No more praying for those who despitefully use us. We're going to show you that we've learned the lessons you've taught us. We've studied your history, and you did not take over this country by singing "We Shall Overcome." You did not gain control of the world like you have it now by dealing fairly with a man and keeping your word. You're treaty breakers, you're liars, you're thieves, you rape entire continents and races of people. Then you wonder why these very people don't have any confidence or trust in you. Your religion means nothing. Your law is a farce, and we see it every day. You demonstrated it in Alabama. And I can say you because you're part of the whole system. You profit from it. In fact, you make your living from it. You couldn't walk around and talk to people, stand up in your pulpit on Sunday and preach nice little songs and say, now we're going to give thanks to the Lord for he is good and old Jesus be among us. As far as we're concerned, your Jesus is contaminated, just like everything else you tried to force upon us is contaminated. Well, so you can have him. And here's what
welcome back. That clip was, I know, a little bit of a touchy subject for you all. I love that clip. I posted it on my Facebook platform, my Instagram platform, and also my Twitter platform. Without further ado, let's talk a little bit about that clip. So as Ernest Chambers was talking, he's at this point of his life a barber. He's not a senator. He's not even running for any type of office. And basically, A Time for Burning, that particular clip is talking about how we as a black people are tired. I can recall back to when I was younger and growing up in the South, because I am from Miami, Florida. There had been a lot of segregation and issues even as me growing up in the 80s. My mother, who was born in the rural South, and we moved down and migrated to Miami. Not we, but her, that is, her and her parents. When they migrated down to Miami, they grew up in the 60s, right around the time of civil rights. And in the 70s, there were riots in Miami. My mother had never been a part of, but her sisters were, a part of that. It almost brings me to tears to talk about these things because I know that the speeches that my mother gave me growing up was something that hit my heart today and yesterday, because as a black man living in the U.S. and as having two brothers who are younger than I am, we had that speech. My mother spoke to us and said, hey, look, you are a black man. You are in the U.S. We come from slavery, over 400 years of it. And in that clip, he talks about those 400 years, how we were, kept in our place, until, of course, there was revolt. Revolt meaning violence, and violence that led to a change. I'm not condoning the violence now, because I do know there are different types of organizations that are doing other things to incite riots. This situation going on now in 2020 at the end of May is dealing with George Floyd and his unjust killing by Minnesota police officers in Minneapolis. It's very, like I said, it's a very touchy subject. I'm a black man, as you can see. I am someone who has dealt with a lot of things growing up in the South. From the first time I ever got a license, I got pulled over going to the movies with my brother and another friend of ours. 2 blocks from my home, in my mother's car, got pulled over. They thought that we had drugs in the car. And all I can think of is the other times after that where I got pulled over while being black by officers in Florida. Going back to college, up and down the roads, it was a 7-hour drive to get to school. And it just hurts my heart to know that these things are still happening today. They were happening when I was growing up. And, even though we are progressed to where we are now, we're only about 140 some odd years from the freedom, from abolition of slavery. I want to talk about Ernest Chambers now. He's definitely someone I look up to. In 2005, he had become the longest running senator of Nebraska. He spoke very eloquently in the documentary, even before he was in any kind of political office. I do find myself talking about these things and kind of feeling that it's not all the time the best conversation, but it does give people the information sometimes that they need in order to move forward. This is a painful time. I had half of the mind to even go out to the riots that were happening today in New York and in New Jersey. And I couldn't bring myself to do it because my grandmother actually called me about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, just to check to see where I was, because she wanted to know if I had went out to the riots. And she was watching it live from her TV down in Florida. And she was telling me that she doesn't want me out there because they're burning police cars and they're just blowing things out of proportion in her mind. My grandmother was born in the 40s, so she knows a lot more than I know when it comes to the segregation, when it comes to the issues that we're having. I'll place a link in my description for the video of the entire documentary that I played a clip from. It is on YouTube. It is free to watch. It's about an hour, give or take a few minutes, and you'll be glad you watched it. I had a chance to watch it, and insightful, amazing. Integration in that time was inevitable, but of course it came with its issues. I find myself at this point in my life at 36 to always read up on different material, to always go back to the history books, get information from my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, my father, trying to get a well-rounded knowledge base regarding, you know, the history of the U.S. when it comes to Black people. So I will say at the end of this video that I really appreciate you for watching until the end. I love you, my love tights. Until next time, have a good one. Later.